Hello, how are you guys doing today? Welcome to another video on my channel. If you're new here, my name is Appleschloss. Welcome. I go by Apple usually, but today, I don't know where to put my hands. Today we're going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons. If you don't know what Dungeons and Dragons is, that's not what this video is about. So I'm just here to talk about it because I just feel like for anyone who's still here on my channel, which I see you in the comments, I see you watching, I love you and I appreciate you. For anyone who's here, I just feel like I need to talk to you more about things that have been going on in my life, and I feel like I got 2 years worth of updating to do, and Dungeons and Dragons has been a lot of those 2 years. So during the pandemic, my friends and I started playing Grand Theft Auto together. Not that we hadn't before, but we started kind of regularly playing heists together in GTA 5. And as we were hanging out, I don't remember when it came up, but we were like, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons before. And they were like, I haven't either. And we were like, we should play sometime. That'd be really fun. And one of our friends was like, I know somebody who could DM for us. Are we serious? Are we sure we want to do this? And we were like, yeah, we want to do this. So we did, and it's going great. 2 years later, I'm very close friends with the person who DMs with us. I think we're all really close. We added in other people into our group. It's been a very good time. It's been a very positive experience for me. Enjoy our guest for today, by the way, Artemis. Sleeping on the bed. But yeah, so Dungeons and Dragons has been a huge part of my life. Been playing it on average at least once every weekend. I'm in 4 games right now, so sometimes I play 4 games a week. Listen, it takes up a lot of my time in the best way possible because I just love it. Okay, my previous experience with Dungeons and Dragons, because I had this much experience. One time in high school, I managed to be a guest on my friend's campaign. They were playing in 3.5 because that's what was being run when I was in high school. 5e wasn't out yet. So I played one round of that. I don't remember much except that I crit my animal handling check, so I got to befriend a horse. And then one time in college, me and one of my other friends, Erica, and my roommate, Teresa, were like, let's play Dungeons and Dragons. And Teresa was like, I'll DM for you guys. And we sat down and talked about it. And Erica let me borrow the 3.5 player's handbook. I still have it. What's funny, in my opinion, is it wasn't even hers. She had borrowed it from somebody else, and I borrowed it from her, and I never gave it back. And it's mine now. It's been too long. It's very much mine. It's so sad. It's very used, but that shows how much love someone had for that, is that they used it all the time. But yeah, so Dungeons & Dragons, 2 years later, I'm doing great. So this video is kind of a preface for the fact that there might be future Dungeons & Dragons videos on my channel, including this one. Hello, welcome. I really want to do a video, I think, eventually where I sit down and just talk about the progression of the characters I've created, because I feel like it's grown a lot. But today I kind of want to talk about where I started. There's been so many things I've learned, and if you're looking for good what I've learned videos, maybe that'll be me eventually, but right now go to Ginny D's channel. She's phenomenal. I love her content. She makes really good videos about just Dungeons and Dragons, and I watch them all the time. But I want to talk today about my poor first character who 2 years later, looking back on her, I did her so dirty, and it's no one's fault. I didn't ask any questions because I didn't know what I needed to ask, and because of that, because I was dumb, Alcina suffered, and that's no one's fault but my own. I didn't understand what the ability scores do, so I'm going to show you a little bit about my poor girl Alcina, okay? So, I love her to death. My first ever character, I was an Aarakocra druid, and I feel like if you're a part of the D&D community, you know that might be controversial. Some people say that your first player character shouldn't be a druid because they're very complicated. Some people hate Aarakocras because they can fly. Too bad I played her. I wouldn't change who she is, but I would change so much about just how I created her. All right, I'm gonna take you over to show her, okay? So this is our campaign. She's dead, by the way. I haven't played her in a while. In real life, it might be a year ago already at this point, which was a long time ago. Long story short, our party had traveled to the capital city to deal with some things that one of our characters needed to handle, as well as to do some research on a topic we were trying to learn more about before we tried to tackle it. While we were there, 5 ancient chromatic dragons decided to attack the city, and we were level 9. Needless to say, my character died. Some of us made it out because of different out of our control circumstances. One person crit their death saving throw and managed to escape, and one person was saved by an NPC who managed to take them somewhere safe to revive them. Those 2 characters are still in the party that we currently have going on, part of the same campaign basically. But my girl Alcina died. Rest in peace. She's dead. It's okay. If you don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, you're not gonna understand why these character numbers are so appalling. I have a higher number in strength than I do in constitution, and I'm mad about it. I look back at this poor girl, and I think she had 2 chances to have ability score improvements. And I think I took feats both times because that's how our game is played. You can either take the ability score improvement. Look how sad that is. That's so sad. You can either take the ability score improvement or you can take a feat. And so I took Spell Sniper and I took Observant. I did not need Observant. That was Spell Sniper. Okay. Yeah, you can like, you can be behind range. Like my character also never took cover. There's so many things I did wrong with her. In case you're unaware, because you're on my channel, maybe you just don't play Dungeons and Dragons. If you are a caster, general rule of thumb, most of the time, you are what people consider to be squishy, which means you can get hurt easily because your AC is low and so is your HP, all right? The people who have the highest AC and HP are like fighters, monks, barbarians, people who are like meant to go up and be in the front line because all of their attacks are personal, melee range, all right? They're not ranged attacks, they're melee attacks. Those people are meant to be up front. I didn't play her like that. More often than not, I would fly right in and beat people with my quarterstaff, which was not like my strongest suit. I had a lot of things I could have been doing that I just feel like I wasn't, and a lot of it came from a combo of inexperience as well as just like I was still trying to figure out Dungeons and Dragons as a whole. I feel like my grasp on it now is drastically different, and I do want to play a druid again eventually. I haven't yet because I'm like slowly trying to play through the majority of the classes. First character was a druid, second character was a rogue, third was a monk who's now a monk cleric. I did dip into a cleric for just a second. That campaign didn't go very far. And then I have a sorcerer and a bard. I've been playing the field. I've been playing a lot of things. I like my monk and my rogue. They're very up close and punchy. I think that's just as fun as my sorcerer, who I adore dearly and is probably my current favorite character. My poor girl Alcina here. Constitution is what helps you have a higher HP. So if you have a 1 in con and you're level 9, that adds 9 more HP to your total than you would have had previously. If I were to have a, 2 and then not 18, math. I used con as a dump stat. I'm appalled. I think about it far too often and I'm just honest to God appalled at how horrible my con was. My fly speed is 50 versus my physical speed, which is 25. So even though I didn't fly up very often, I tended to fly forward, which I shouldn't have been because I was a freaking druid. I should have been staying in the back and spike growthing everybody, but I didn't. Like, she was destined to die this day. I feel like a lot of our party was. It wasn't like my DM planned to murder us all, but like that was meant to happen, right? Me making her better wasn't going to stop her from dying, but I'm just sad sometimes thinking about it because like I did go with her wisdom. Wisdom is her spell casting modifier. So having a 3, pretty good, but her, okay. I'm going to compare her to my current character, who, keep in mind, is a rogue and is like 7 levels higher than her. All right, this is my girl Spectre. I love her dearly. She's a rogue. She's a wolf. She's amazing. But anyways, I'm going to show you her numbers by comparison. Do you see this? Do you see these numbers? First of all, when I rolled Alcina's ability scores, our DM has a rule that we can roll them ourselves, and then we still have the chance, if we feel like ours are garbage, we can take his, but there's no take backsies. Our DM is notorious for rolling phenomenally on ability scores. I didn't know this at the time. I was out of the loop. The way that you roll an ability score is you roll 4d6 and you drop the lowest one. So if you get a 6, a 3, a 2, and a 1, you drop that 1, you add the 6, the 3, and the 2, and that's your number. And you do that. Our group does it 7 times, and then you drop the lowest of that one as well. If you have less than a 10, that number becomes negative in your ability modifier, and it changes how you perform different skills, tasks, etc. Our numbers are abysmally low, and that just happens sometimes, but I really shouldn't have taken one of those feats, and I should have bumped her con by 2. I keep pretty good notes of what my characters roll and stuff like that now. But at the start, my note-taking was also abysmal. I'll show you the progression of my note-taking too. This is going to be like a first day versus last day kind of thing. This is my first D&D notebook. Very nice. I keep pretty good track of things now, but my first one's abysmal. Let me see. This is our very first day in the campaign. I wrote down people's names. I wrote down who was who. And I also wrote down some of the things that I learned, which was if you go fully negative in your HP, you're dead. You fail 3 death saves. These are the things I was learning on the first day. Absolutely insane. One page. So that's day 2, and that's day 1. I wrote nothing. I wrote not even a page worth of notes on stuff. Here, I'm gonna show you last night's session because the same campaign. This is my current notebook. I've gone through 3 at this point. We're on session 63. Okay, keep in mind, this is the page 1 of session 63. Do you see how thick that is? Do you see how thick that is? That's how many notes I took last night from one session. I'll do I'm still going. Those are all my notes from last session. I'm a very different player now than I was when I first started. I love all my characters. I love every character I've created for D&D so far. And I think that's what makes me the most upset about Alcina, is because I still love her to death. I love her so much. And she just got the short end of the stick. While we're here, I'm gonna show you an art progression of Alcina because I love her to death. This was the first art piece I got of her. I love it. I love every art piece I have of all of my characters. But she got to have a fun progression over time, as a lot of my characters have, the ones that I start to really love. So the second art piece she ever got was a full campaign art piece that I got that I really, really like. So this was our whole party that was mostly wiped out by the dragon. The ones that are alive are as follows. Rose the Goblin Cleric, she made it, we love her. Rainia and her wonderful bear Ivy, they also made it, we love. These were the two that were revived by somebody, and she was the one who crit her death saving throw and escaped. So Alcina, Gil, and Soren all unfortunately did not make it, but I love this piece of art. I love it so freaking much. And then there's actually a piece that I got fairly recently done of Alcina post-mortem because Alcina actually inspired one of my other friends to play her pet. So she bought an owl back in, it was apparently only session 3. We went to a pet store and she bought a pet owl because I really wanted a pet. I have a lot of regrets about that as well because of how I wasn't a very confident role player at the time. I still have struggles with it sometimes, but especially at the time I was still trying to get my footing in D&D and I wasn't confident in just like role playing what my character was just casually doing at the campsite, or role-playing emotions. Like, I didn't mind role-playing with other people, but I felt weird being like, oh, if you were to look over at Alcina, she'd be sitting down, checking her stuff, making sure it looks okay. She'd probably be eating some food. Like, I wouldn't done that at the time. So like, I'm a little more emotive with my characters now. Regardless, I bought a pet owl session 3. And I felt awkward role-playing the fact that I like to take care of my pet owl. And so it became this like little joke that I never took care of them. That's fine, listen. But because of that, one of my friends ended up playing this owl. Whenever my character died, this owl gained sentience and fled the city and now is pretty hell-bent on bringing Alcina back to life. So that's pretty fun. But this is a piece of art that I've gotten for really recently, and this one's very near and dear to me, so if she does come back to life and I do get to experience her again, might use this as her character icon. But yeah, so D&D has meant a lot to me at this point. It's brought me a lot of friendships and a lot of serotonin. It's really nice, honestly. I have quite the passion for it. If you look over here, I don't know if you can tell, but those 3 are the 3 physical books you need: the Monster Manual, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Player's Handbook. I have all 3 of them. I have quite the selection of dice. What's really fun about Dungeons and Dragons for me is I've always been a dice goblin. As a child, I collected dice. Now, mind you, at the time, it was primarily D6s, which what most people, if they think of dice, that's what they think of as like a Yahtzee dice, just like a casino dice. I collected those as a kid. I loved them. So like, I already collected dice. So I'm like a dice goblin at heart, and I'm already like working my way through. I just ordered some dice today. I ordered more dice today. I don't need more dice. I really don't. I'm running out of space. Honestly, I just wanted to tell you guys about something that's been a big part of my life over the past 2 years because it really just has impacted me as a person. It's changed me a lot. Not changed me a lot, just like molded me into being who I am currently. I don't think I would be exactly who I am right now without it because of not only the friends that I made, but also the experiences I've gotten to have. I just want to talk a little bit about it, vent about my experiences with this poor first character that I ever made. I do think I want to eventually do a video where I like just kind of like compare all 6 of my characters that I've had so far. One of them wasn't from Dungeons and Dragons. We played a separate system, but still a character I played. I kind of want to like compare them all, like compare all my characters, see how I feel about them all. Just like because I love them all very dearly, but for very different reasons. And like I said, they've all been different classes so far. So I just want to share something that's been such an important part of my life recently. I'd love to know if any of you have ever played D&D, or I'd love to hear if in the past year or two, if there's any hobbies that you finally picked up that you've been meaning to do for a while. Because honestly, Dungeons and Dragons was like that for me. It was a hobby I'd been meaning to get around to, basically. I've known about it since high school. I've been a theater kid my whole life. I've been a creative writer my whole life. It just seemed like this perfect game that would just be like everything I wanted, and it is. And I meant to do it forever, and I finally did, and I have just absolutely no regrets. So if you have been thinking about doing something for a while, whether it's like roller skating, knitting, writing, whatever, and you've been just like thinking about it forever, this is your sign. Just go do it. Just start it. You're not gonna regret it. So like, please go do that thing. But I digress. Thank you guys so much for watching though. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more D&D content, that'll let me know. Even if you don't give it a thumbs up, if I feel like making more D&D content, I might do it anyways because I can do whatever I want. My channel, I post what I want and I will continue to do so. But yeah, talk to me down below. Let me know what you're wanting to see from me. Just like if you do want to see D&D videos, I could also do a video where I like make a couple random characters. I can talk about some of the homebrew that I've made myself. I've made a couple subclasses, which I'm very proud of. I've also made a background and I've messed around with a race that I never quite got to play. Oh, 7 characters. I have played 7 characters. Wow. Anyways, just talk to me down below. You'll never know what happened. Thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.